Welcome to Community Crypto on CoinDesk TV. I'm your host, Isaiah Jackson, and this week we are discussing the Unique Network and how they are working with the United Nations on climate change. I'm joined now by Alexander Mitrovich, CEO of the Unique Network, and Miroslav Polzer, Executive Director of the UN-accredited civil society organization, IAAI, and its U.S.-based sister organization, GLOCHA. So, welcome to the show, fellas.
Hi, Isaiah.
Hello. Hi. Nice to be here.
Glad to have you both on. And I love to start with all of our guests to talk about your genesis story. So, Alexander, we'll start with you. What is your genesis story into the crypto and NFT space, and how did you start?
Well, in terms of blockchain and crypto, there was one person who I have to thank. She's kind of in the top women in crypto people by now, but I was a friend of hers for a long from her previous startup. She started talking about crypto on Facebook like 6 years ago, something like that. And I was like, oh, what's this? And then, started digging in and I liked it. There was a time I joined USTech and was thinking about the global expansion there. So I kind of fell in love with blockchain. That was my thing. And that's, was working on it ever since.
Oh, yeah. We all fall in love at some point, it seems like. And Miroslav, what is your genesis story? How did you get involved in the space?
So my genesis story is that I'm working in the field of getting everyone engaged in climate action and especially young people. And we had our call for youth climate action resources at the United Nations conference in Marrakesh in November 2016. And there we said to the philanthropists, the climate movement would need resources, channel $100 million towards us, and we will make then sure that youth climate actions will be the beneficiaries of it. And then we very quickly have seen that it's a too big challenge to really identify the right projects, to handle them, to create from the outcomes assets. And only a few months later, I've learned then in a lecture from Professor Dirk Helbing from ETH Zurich about the blockchain, and that it helps to create community currencies, or that giving things a value that didn't have been manageable as valuable before, because especially these youth climate action outcomes are so small but so important, and giving them a value was something that I didn't figure out yet before how to manage it. And with blockchain and with now with NFTs, it's so much easier, and it's really the game changer. NFTs and blockchain technology are game changers in the way how the world can work together to address these big crises that we have as regards climate and the global goals implementation.
Yes, sir. And you're right. NFTs definitely is a game changer. And we're looking at the fusion of NFTs along with climate change initiatives as well, which is great to see for the future. So before we jump into that aspect of it, Alexander, I wanted you to kind of explain what the Unique Network is and how they work with NFTs.
Well, Unique Network is the blockchain for NFTs specifically. So if you take a look at the unique asset tokenization market today, where it is, blockchain is only starting to figure out how to tokenize unique assets. What we have this year as a boom of one use case, and that's collectibles. That is a very simple use case, isn't it? It's kind of you make a file, you mint a file, you sell the file, or kind of distribute it, and you have very limited use cases beyond that. What Unique Network is basically the next generation NFT chain. It allows NFTs to have much more powerful and much more flexible use cases because it's based on Substrate, which powers Polkadot, which is the most flexible and a very powerful chain as well. But the key here is the ability to do give life to NFTs, to make them have as powerful use cases as fungible tokens do. So that's what Unique Network does.
Oh, yeah. And I wanted to ask as well, because of the NFT minting, we have seen on certain blockchains that maybe gas fees or the cost of minting is too high. How will Unique Network solve that for artists and musicians who decide to use that platform?
Well, the gas fees are, for the rest of us, we're not Ethereum, are actually easy to solve. We have, it's not a problem if you design it properly. In Ethereum, you have the whole DeFi space occupying it. And that's why I have the problem with gas fees. But we have gone actually a step further. We take the economics of the blockchain, which is very opinionated and kind of one-way street goes where users have to pay those gas fees. We eliminate that. We give to the creators of the apps or creators of artists ability to design their own economy. So you take and basically create what looks like gasless environment. This completely takes off the blockchain from the table of being kind of right front and center of everything, which is not supposed to be. Like NBA Top Shots has shown us in collectibles business, you have to hide it under the hood, and then you can appeal to masses. So basically, the gas fees will be free. That's the that's the point.
Beautiful. I'm sure every artist and musician loves that. And Miroslav, jumping to you to tie it all together. What initiatives have you taken with your company to work with Alexander in order to change the landscape of NFTs?
Yeah, so first, the information that climate action is under-resourced. That's our starting point. Really, there are so many people who would like to do more for the climate, but they don't find anybody who would be ready to pay for it. So that's, and especially young people, they need knowledge, they need access to technology, they need sometimes space, sometimes they need internet access, and nobody is really providing these critical resources. And we have tried with philanthropy, asking them, that's such an important issue, give us some resources, and we didn't succeed. But now in March, our cooperation partners, Open Earth Foundation and the Social Alpha Foundation, they've organized the Carbon Drop initiative, and with Beeple and with Rafik Anadol and some others, and they have auctioned 6 or 7 pieces of art, and they have raised $6.6 million. And so we thought, okay, that's interesting. People are ready to pay for digital art, for collectibles, for some forms of gamification, but they are not ready to pay directly for climate art. So we thought, let's somehow create a mechanism and a platform where we invite artists to contribute their artwork as a resource. And then let's bring together the collectors and the young people with their climate action projects. And then with this mechanics, we can raise resources, mobilize resources, and we can also give the artists more visibility and also a revenue share partially once the full digital art for climate marketplace will be available. It will be a self-determined share of 0 to 40%. So, and this was then the idea. And when we looked at the carbon drop, we've seen also the criticism regarding the environmental footprint of NFTs. And this is really a very justified criticism. And the crypto community should not look away of this or have some kind of, if really the carbon footprint of Bitcoin and Ethereum networks is as big as middle income countries, then that's a problem, and that's unacceptable. And then early May, I have watched an episode of Blockchains where Irina Karagiao from Unique Network, the metaverse ambassador, so really very kind person and artist herself presented this unique network, and that it's proof of stake based on blockchain, on Polkadot and Kusama parachains. Then my intuition told me that this is the right partner for us. It's the environmental footprint that is low, and it's the people. I've then also watched several video presentations of Alex and really seen that this determination to be creative, to have new tokenomics models enabled, to have interoperability. And this is something that we need for global solutions. And therefore, we are working together on this initiative, Digital Art for Climate. We have launched our call for artists to artists last week. There was the International Youth Day that the United Nations is celebrating each year on the 12th of August. And we've had our launch also on UN Web TV, and inviting artists to submit. From these submissions, there will be a curation process and public voting where we will identify 25 pieces of art. And then there will be also invited artists, high-profile, high-end artists that will be also invited to contribute their artwork, that will create a collection which will be then presented in Milan end of September, and also at the United Nations Climate Change Conference in November in Glasgow. And there will be an auction, and then this revenues from the auctions will be channeled towards systemic solutions for climate action empowerment in cooperation with the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change and UN Habitat Youth Program. So I hope it was not too long.
A lot of good stuff covered. And I just wanted to repeat there that the digital art performance competition that's coming or that has started, you are curating the list, and then they will have voting rights on who wins. But just to reiterate, the fact that you can buy NFTs and help with climate change at the same time is a great way to solve those problems. And of course, now we have the dynamic duo here with you working together. What are some of the most important things as far as climate change being an ongoing battle? What are some of the most important things you're trying to establish in the NFT space to keep projects like this going, Alexander?
Well, the first thing is to make this one succeed. Okay, that's the step one. We have to kind of take them one at a time and then kind of figure out the way to scale them. But our view is that NFTs as something in society are only beginning to appear. So we need to make sure that they are here to stay and that they start bringing value. And definitely, the idea that Miroslav had was to use NFTs as a rallying kind of torch for young people and to many people from all over the world to engage in climate change and help fight it is very valuable and very. It is a right cause, and it is something that I believe will go on. One thing we want to do is, when the initial kind of circle is done, is to take a look at what we have accomplished and start giving life to those NFTs. So this is not a promise, but something we are doing with another project in the Polkadot ecosystem is making nested NFTs, or which are basically able to change shape, change form, based on on-chain actions. They get emoticons and their colors change, or they get tennis ball emoticons and they become tennis players or whatever. So the idea here is to spark the innovation that will make NFTs as a cornerstone, but of a very live, art in this case. So we will be looking more for deeper art projects that are looking to take advantage of what's coming in the NFT space. And what's coming is something much more complex than what you're seeing today, something much more powerful. And that's what art is supposed to be. It is supposed to inflict emotions and have a wide range of them. Okay, it's NFT space, and a lot of its use cases is only about one emotion. It's about kind of buying it and selling it more expensive. Okay, but actual art is more about a much deeper emotions and a much wider set. So we will be looking to support further deeper art projects that are dedicated to climate change help and to raise awareness and to really help. So we, as a proof of stake change, we have a very little energy footprint. So that's important for the effort, but there's much, much more under the hood, hiding and planning for the years to come.
And I commend you on that as far as looking towards the future. And Miroslav, jumping to you, along with that, because of future projects that are coming, are there plans for more initiatives that involve not just kids, but for anyone to be able to submit NFTs and to be able to raise money for climate change?
Yes, that's certainly the case. And here behind you can see a poster from a TEDx GLOCHA event that we've had last year, 10th of October, in the context of the TEDx Countdown event. And there we have said that our vision is that everyone should have on his or her mobile devices an individual climate action dashboard app, where people are collecting collectibles, badges, NFTs about contributions that they have made to climate action. And if we come with these crypto things to people who have never used this or have never used a wallet or have never heard of blockchain, that they will not accept it. But if we start now with digital art for climate and we say there will be airdropped NFTs from beautiful, inspiring, emotion triggering art, then people will say, oh, I want this. And then they will start creating their wallet. They will have their first free NFTs. And then we will tell them, with the platforms that we are creating, that they can present their activities, their actions, and the outcomes of these actions as NFTs, putting them also on a marketplace where people who have resources can buy them, can associate them to certain activities, and then really everyone should participate in a climate action digital badges collection game. And this should be on NFT basis. And Unique Network is the right partner with this low environmental footprint that it has. And so that's our vision. GLOCHA app, a good life app on everyone's mobile device that really start thinking what will be our legacy in times of the climate crisis. What have we done? And with such an NFT-based app, it is clear these are my contributions that I've made to the global efforts addressing climate change. And that's also, if one looks, they say this grandchildren responsibility. If you imagine a grandchild telling you, what have you done in light of the crisis when there were the fires burning in Turkey, in Greece, in Italy, in Russia, everywhere. And then you can say, at least these are my digital collectibles, somehow certified my contributions to the global community and to the local community. That's our vision, and that's what we are working on. And this first Digital Art for Climate COP26 collection will be is our starting point or launch pad, that we get some resources that we will be more powerful and more effective in our efforts.
Oh, yeah. And I often used to say, for us with crypto, your grandchildren are going to ask, what did you do when, money changed and went digital? And you're going to be able to show them, this is what I did. So with NFTs, the same thing. When you're talking about climate change, like you said with that app, if somebody's like, what did you do to help climate change? You have the app right there to show your badges from years of trying to donate or purchase things. So I love that idea. And, one thing I've always thought about in the NFT market, Alexander, for you, are there any concerns about when we're in a bull market versus a bear market? Because right now, everybody's happy. Everybody's having a good time. Price is going up. People are buying NFTs like they're going out of style, but are there any concerns for the bear market price or some of the things that may happen there?
Of course there are. I mean, bull markets and bear markets, they affect everybody. Okay.
Yep.
But I've been around blockchain space for 5 years, and I've seen a few kind of ups and downs. And the whole idea is to basically play it long term, play it for the long run, and try to kind of build things. And if you build things, if you build good things, the markets will come, the bull market will come again, and kind of things will accelerate. The bear markets are great for coming down to the basics and really focusing on good quality building. Sometimes that's actually very healthy and very necessary. So, it's all part of the creative nature of the disruption which blockchain gives. So it's something that you have to kind of just figure in. And as for us, as for Unique Network, we are basically chain that is building functionality for the next NFT boom. We're not that much focused on stuff that's happening in this one. We are focusing on enabling functionality and use cases that will be needed in 2, 3, 5 years from now. So, having a bear market in between now and then is for us something that's set up in the business model, and we expect it to happen.
Oh yeah, yep. And you have to plan long term, simply because, like you said, this market is not stopping anytime soon. And thinking short term, you sort of get these, sort of pump and dump kind of people, or platform here today, platform gone tomorrow. So yeah, I love that the vision is long term, and you're building towards a future that may look sort of like Ready Player One, I guess. But you definitely want to look towards that. And Miroslav, just to tie you in here with the future of how NFTs are coming, do you think that there will be a shift in the mindset of people who create NFTs? Because we know, for the most part, NFTs are created on other blockchains, but do you think there's a shift to a more eco-friendly environment with NFTs, not just to support climate change, but to actually create NFTs that support climate change?
Yeah, 100%. It is really a tragedy how much energy is wasted in the blockchain world. And my organization is also a founding member of the Climate Chain Coalition. It's a network of 250 organizations that look at how to harness the potentials of blockchain technology. And there, our co-chair and founder of this made some calculations. He said, if we say there is a certain carbon footprint in the world from the IPCC reports, and so there's this calculation that there's a certain amount of gigatons available for all of humanity. And if one distributes this to all the 8.5 billion people or so that are on the earth, and then divide this carbon budget that one person has, divide it by the carbon footprint of one blockchain calculation. He said, you have for your whole life only 65 Bitcoin transactions. And so it's really such a waste of energy. It's totally useless, because you can do these certain transactions with the same quality, same societal benefit in a much smaller environmental footprint. And it's a tragedy that the world, the national governments, and so they are not coordinating and taxing the energy waste that's happening here. And if we want to survive as humanity, we will have to do the taxation and closing down coal power plants and this kind of things. Or we say, okay, we're going down. And so I prefer to say, no, we will manage it, that we will not waste energy. And and therefore it's, for me, only proof of stake makes sense. It's unresponsible to use proof of work mechanisms, because it's not necessary. And I don't know. I'm quite surprised sometimes.
Oh yeah. And in the industry, we've definitely heard the argument. And I do want to jump on what, like you just said, maybe taxation and maybe regulation around it. Do you think with the new infrastructure bill coming, where they've slid, sort of crypto rules in there. Do you think there should be more regulation that forces these proof of work energy companies to pay more taxes?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, and maybe apply those taxes to NFTs, right?
Causing those who are using this energy and using fossil fuels, burdening the climate. We are using global commons. We are really wasting resources that are here for all of humanity and for future generations, and nobody pays for it. That's from an economic perspective, it is total inefficient allocation of resources, and we have to find ways to handle that. It's really such a systems failure if we don't.
Well, if you think about it, let me jump in here. People tried colored coins on Bitcoin, couldn't do much. So, NFTs. And then NFTs were invented on Ethereum. But on Ethereum, the transaction costs are now so high that people cannot afford to do the NFT things on Ethereum. Not really much. So that market is kind of with a delay, but is self-regulating and towards the proof of stake, which is much more energy efficient for larger scale transactions and for smaller kind of value transactions like NFTs are supposed to be. You can have trades of millions of dollars on Ethereum, and I guess that may have some justification. Although, I hope that Ethereum's transition to it will be faster than it is going. So, but it is much better in terms of energy use. The consensus.
Yeah, and we've definitely seen how tech scales. That's the one thing we all three of us know is that tech scales. It doesn't stop as far as growth. So those issues that we're seeing today may be a non-issue in 5 years. So hopefully you two fellas will work together to solve that issue. Can't wait to see what you all do in the future. And thank you both for coming on today. I appreciate you, Alexander and Miroslav.
Oh,
thanks for the
my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
And that's it for this episode of Community Crypto. I'm your host, Isaiah Jackson, and every week we're building a global community and local crypto groups. So be sure to tune in every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern on CoinDesk TV. See you then.